Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have a real nice one for you today. I'm playing against Plutoya, and I'm playing as my Blue Dragons deck, so just trying to get a very nice spread of map control at the start. Of course, capturing this town in the center, and it is, before I forget, this is actually a destruction game, not a conquest game, so a bit of an unusual one for me, but it can be a very enjoyable change of pace. We have a Jiwicha headed over to Foxtrot, and this is actually because it was a destruction game. I wouldn't have capped this early in Conquest, but in Destruction, zone control ties to your income. And I had expected the Red 4 player to immediately cap Charlie, and I didn't want to start off with points deficit. So we have a bunch of weapons teams in the center town that's going to be supported also by Sochung Su 85. These guys are just an infantry backbone in case there is a rush that the Chumat and Mistrals can't fight off on their own. A short arrow is nicely going to be nestled here in the woods. Just a bit of an overlook position, very long range in the short arrow as well, 33-25 meter range against helos, and that's kind of an area denial thing in case I start to get a little bit pressured in Delta. We have a single unit of, I believe, Tukjan Swa headed over in KM 900s toward Alpha, and an OH-1 Ninja trying to see what's going on here, and I don't see a lot, which was a little bit puzzling. So OH-6D moving forward, and this guy is going to be taken out. Second missile is a bit of swing and a miss, but even though he's retreated, that third one does land, and I lose the first casualty. So Hachi Nanashiki is going to be moving up. I didn't see anything on the ground. I figured my opponent probably just had a couple things in these woods and wouldn't necessarily be able to deal with a flanker. So the Hachi Nanashiki is headed there. More infantry immediately called out to resupply, well, to support in Delta. These guys are going to be recon infantry, and they should have been out in the first wave, but I kind of forgot, and they're expensive besides, so I wanted some nice, good training Tukjan Swa just as additional backbone against pushes in the center. Nice use of mortars from my opponent here, blocking off the angles for the Chumat, and potentially even the Mistral if there's a helicopter over on this side, and there's also more smoke going down in the center. Now, I hadn't seen anything here yet, and this was getting just more and more puzzling. Where is my opponent? I see there was a single unit of FJB here for just a hot second, and we get 2 kills. We can see the dead body lying there. Oh, poor guy, just lying there in the middle of the road. But yeah, that's about it. I had no real other contact, and then smoke started coming over here, and this should have been my clue. So because there isn't much killing that's gotten done yet, that's a sentence. We're gonna flip to neutral and just show you this was off the start. Just a huge infantry push right through this side. It was slow, it was weird, I didn't expect it at all. The rest is just area control, and my opponent's intention very clearly is to just push me the hell out of Alpha and have me not be able to do anything about it. And I mean, I do have some other reinforcements coming over here, KM 900s carrying some infantry, but Hachi Nanashiki, and this was absolutely beautiful. So I go into the woods when I saw this unit coming out. I was trying to avoid being spotted, autocannon opening up a little bit of damage, and I was starting to get a little worried, but the second round, third round gets a lot more stunned, and now we've gotten the kill. So this was beautiful. 95-point kill off of Hachi Nanashiki, and yes, he's spotted, but this has to provoke a panic response from my opponent there, and that buys me a little bit more time and a little bit more breathing room. I also do have a Jiwicha headed over. This is a horrible decision given what's coming, but I didn't know what was coming. I had no idea that there was all of this just chilling in these woods. I would have pounded it with artillery, I would have bombed it out of existence. I had no clue, and I have scout infantry here, I have a KM 900, it just... A couple mistakes on my part include not having forward scouts on the zone in Alpha, and then also I missed that helicopter that was headed around the back, so there is going to be a set of consequences to that. But we are going to get creative here. So the Jiwicha's headed over. I'm still not engaged in Alpha. I'm bringing out reinforcements to the wrong sides of the map. I have infantry trying to pad out in Foxtrot just because the Hachi Nanashiki is so far forward. I figured he could have probably taken whatever was here, and yeah, we would have gotten some spotting on it with the KM900 and some fire on it potentially if I move the Chumat over, but I wanted to start setting up defenses. So Sochung Su in the woods, a couple of ATGM teams called out, and Hachi Nanashiki as well, just setting up a nice firing concave should anything push through in Fox. Unfortunately, that's a lot of points, right? So I've gotten 130 for the Jiwicha, at least another 110, 115 that's called out for Foxtrot, and all of his smoking hadn't yet resulted in a push, so I was figuring I was kind of safe. Hachi Nanashiki unfortunately engaged by a scope 2 AM, and those Malyukas I swear they always hit the first time around when they're not fired by me, so first shot hit, right off of 2 of those scouts, and that was a bit of bad luck. I was trying to get to the trees and avoid them, but just not quick enough because both of them did roll that 40% chance to hit just fine. So we are going to speed up just a little bit before things get really into the thick of the fight. Well, moving on, we have reinforcements that were previously called out to Fox now arriving, and I mean, my opponent and I were talking during this. He was accusing me of being a smurf because I have a high win rate. I do. Well, it used to be 73, now it's down to 72 after a run of about 6 or so bad games. I only have about 350, maybe, well, actually 330 or so games under my belt, and most of those were with a small play group, so a lot of the wins honestly don't represent wins against a variety of people, and that's something I tried to convince him of this. He was talking shit, I was talking shit, it was a fun time. Jiwi Cha is now in this zone, protected by Tukshan Swa on this side, KM900 on the other for spotting, and also roadblock with KM900 if enemy infantry gets around that side. Hebyung 90 in the woods here, KM900, and my next intention was to start filling out Alpha because, you know, we've capped both. That means I have a better income than my opponent, and if he's not going to engage, I'm just gonna try to do my best to get map control, and that's all I really can do. So we figured, why the hell not? We have infantry coming out in Hachi-Q Shikis now. We also have a surprise. So the THS Mi-24A from my opponent that got around my side undetected is going to be absolutely mashing my Hachi-Q Shiki and my Sujo Buntai, which was really kind of awful. I didn't know it at the time, but I think my opponent also marked my FOB position, which bit of a bad FOB position, honestly. I should probably work on that. But the ninjas headed over to respond, and now we finally have contact with the enemy in this side as well. So KM900's doing their best. Oop, bit of a topsy-turvy thing there. Hebyung 90 also will be very nice. Those Panzerfaust 3s are amazing, amazing secondaries, and they will take down a lot of transports right off the bat. This should have been supported by infantry already, but I think the whole clump was probably attack moved, and these guys are moving faster than the infantry that is supporting them. Unfortunately, swing and a miss from 3 in a row off the Panzerfaust, and that's going to prompt me moving these guys back, trying to get into the woods, protect them a little bit, and then re-ambush those infantry. Sujo Buntai and Hachi-Q Shikis trying to heal up at the FOB, and Tukshan Swa immediately called in and dropped off after that helicopter was killed. F1 bomber is going to be coming in, and my intention is just to take out as many of these transports as I can. Not my favorite bomber, honestly, but sometimes can be really exceptional, and this is one of those cases where it was kind of okay. 15 points, a lot of stunned and panic things, but I would have been better off probably with just the standard Peace Pheasant. Hachinano Shiki is now opening up, and this is bad. That's a lot of Scout 2 AMs. My Hebyung are not able to maintain consistent ambushing fire out of the woods. They keep getting spotted, they keep getting shot at, and that's going to be an issue because these guys aren't stopping. They probably expected to encounter my FOB there, and I did move the Jiwi Cha a little bit. That was a bit of a thing to try to make him think he was close. I don't know if there's much value in that, but I was trying to make him think, okay, well, I moved it, I panic moved it in response, it's somewhere along these woods here, and if he just tries hard enough, he can get to it. But Hebyung now getting engaged by infantry on some sides and vehicles on the other, and, you know, they really, that 70% accuracy rolled a miss more times than I care to count, which was kind of amazing, and just now starting to get some shots on target. Hopefully we can maintain that. I mean, you can see the accuracy dropping as they get panicked, but then they finally managed to do it. If we'd done that earlier, we would have been far better off, and this is a weak position. I didn't bring the K1 over because it just would have gotten killed by infantry when it got too close to the woods. It probably wouldn't have been all that great fire support either. Sujo Buntai moving up, Hachi-Q Shiki, and now we have the reinforcements. A double set of KM900s and recon infantry in the UH-1H. These are going to be more Tukshan Swa. And the intention is to drop them off behind and move them forward. That'll take some time, but the other Tukshan Swa are moving back. We're trying to defend the Jiwi Cha. KM900 moving over just to be a bit of a roadblock on this side now, because I am expecting, yep, and here it is, there is a push from Plutoyo over onto this side, and this is a big clump of infantry, and that definitely did not escape my notice. So we'll be dealing with that as soon as we can. But Tukshan Swa do get a good kill, and they will be able to fend off the other SPW-80 as well, so that should be pretty nice. Let's see, they are unfortunately spotted. Something there I think was recon, I'm not entirely sure. No, actually, so they're engaging with the Bechota, and this is going to be a losing fight just because of numbers, but it'll at least slow them down and buy me some time, which is why they're there, and why they're not being pulled back. So we do have more landing in the woods. UH-1H will also be probably sent right over the hill in just a second, and the points values here are pretty close. I'm at 230, my opponent at 215. That will switch real quick if I lose the Jiwicha, and he's being moved back just because the SPW-80 did get a kill on the KM-900. That was entirely expected, but these guys, honestly, this is beautiful. So the mini-me just destroying Pechota at range. These guys should have been force path up to make use of their greater numbers and to engage with their primaries, where they would have had more of an even chance. But now we actually have Panzer Groms moved up as well, firing in at the F1, and these... Yeah, I think I already did actually remove them from the deck after this, because Peace Pheasants would have gotten the kill in both cases. More kills in the first one, and gotten the kill there in the second just from area of effect. Tukshan SWAT shooting, killing the Panzer Grom, killing one set of Pechota, still 5 strength, and they are panicked, but now we have mortar support coming in. I'm trying to stun those Pechota. UH-1H is trying to move forward, unfortunately killed by SPW-80s and FJB, but that tells me where my targets are. And Tukshan SWAT will be more than a match for FJB. Unfortunately, we do have a couple rocket planes of all things coming in, and Tukshan SWAT get annihilated by them. So nice play by my opponent there. I'm not sure I would have used these myself, and I guess it's more of a matter of taste, but we also had a bombing run come in on this side. So Chung-Su killing the remaining Special Flora, Special Aufklarer. Shows you what I know. Unfortunately, my Jiwicha's gun was still on. I should have turned it off previously, I didn't, and that's going to prompt me to move the Jiwicha again as I'm trying to avoid the FJB, but yeah, I mean, I expected him to think, so I thought he would expect me to move farther to his side, and I'm trying to move back away from it. So Chung-Su just decimating the remaining scouts and recapturing these forests, and now we can see 390 to 395. This is still a very, very close game, but if I can get control over this side of the map again, that could change very quickly. Tukshan SWAT engaging with 6 remaining FJB, and those mini-me's will be absolutely merciless against a set of infantry that doesn't have a tertiary. So there's nothing they can do to engage at that range. My Tukshan SWAT can just sit there and get the kill until they move forward enough to get that AK-74N online, but it's going to be too little, too late, and the Jiwicha back in the corner there, stuck in the mud, but just inside that central zone. And now we have the big engagement. So Chung-Su fighting in the woods, getting killed by just mounds and mounds of infantry, and that was definitely not something I wanted to have happen for too long. But here comes the actual good bomber, so I have a Peace Pheasant 1, and there's more rocket planes coming in, but they lose sight of the Jiwicha, they lose sight of the Tukshan SWAT, and I will be able to remain safe from them this time around. Peace Pheasant coming in, and let's just take a look. 445 to 425, bombs drop, 520. So we cleared out so much of the infantry in those woods in 1 second. It was beautiful. Tukshan SWAT engaging with already very weak Pechota, and believe it or not, these guys will be able to hold their own, so that elite training really proving its worth against regular training units that will just lose their accuracy and get, frankly, demolished by Tukshan SWAT in the woods here. So I was loving using these guys this game. They were absolutely amazing, and really was a quantity versus quality thing that was pretty beautiful. But we're not over quite yet. KHS MI-8TBs just attempting to kill the Jiwicha by brute force, and the Tukshan SWAT barely surviving another rocket plane, a second type actually. And now I'm getting kind of tired of this. Block 52D, one of my favorite planes of the game because it's both seed and a wonderful air defense plane for 160 points, is able to take that guy down, and 2 rocket planes here. I'm not sure what they were sent in at, but they do lose their targeting again. Unfortunately, Jiwicha is just briefly spotted by the Mi-2, and now he knows where to go. And I think we'll see that here in just a second. Also, a couple of troops moving over to reinforce an Alpha, but by now I think the game's probably lost for my opponent just out of the sheer income difference and the points difference on the board, right? So I'm also getting more points quicker than he is. LM66 BIS engaging with UH-1H, not able to get the kill, but the Jiwicha spotted by the Mi-2. Mi-2's killed, but not before those Malyukas do get fired off. And I lose that very, very expensive piece. But Tukshan SWAT will be able to answer for this, and 90 points in return, plus the 40 off of the Recon Helo. It's about even Stevens there, and you know, another MiG from Platoya, evac ordered, and he will be able to get out. But now it's 830 to 625, and I don't know. I was feeling pretty good. I think my opponent was not exactly thrilled. As you guys can see, there's a little bit less than a minute left here, and there's no engagement at all across Foxtrot. I should have been moving this stuff up while that engagement was going on. but, well, I didn't. And I would flip to neutral to show you guys, but I do want to go through the units that did well and did poorly after the match, so let's go ahead and get to that, as there's no more active engagements before my opponent surrenders. So, kills losses 830 versus 625. Could have been worse, honestly. 200 points, 205 point disparity there is not terrible. And in terms of kills, the Habyung 90 did okay, but didn't actually make up for their cost. This would have been very different had their first couple of secondary shots, the AT shots, been on target instead of misses with 75 to 80% chance to hit, which I've watched that a couple times now, and it always just kind of grinds my gears a little bit. The double Matlukas with 40% accuracy landing one after another, and then 3 misses in a row, very unlikely, but hey, that's rolling the dice, and sometimes it does happen. Tukchon Swa did pretty well. This was a single group, and they killed an SPW-80, Grom, and Pechota, and weakened a lot of other Pechota, allowing my other group to do very, very well. And you can see the infantry was just pretty valuable on our end. Lots of Scout AMs that got killed in the woods at short range. Peace Pheasant won, beautiful bombing run, saved that position, and very much turned the tide of the game in those woods, and that's about all she wrote. So, thank you guys for hanging around, and that's all I've got for you guys today, but we'll see you again real soon.